Nice. You may remember in a previous video that Barrett and I made a new target stand, the uprights anyway, for our new challenge targets, target stands, the TS100 and the TS200. Here we are putting the upper part of the stand together. That was a fun day. Barrett and I had a lot of fun doing that, as we always do. You can see there's the TS100. And I wanted to take these to the range a couple times before I did any kind of a review on them. So here's Barrett and I. We took these out to the range the day we got our Mosin Nagant, and that was a heck of a lot of fun for sure. There I am shooting the cannon, as Barrett calls it. And there's Barrett, his first experience. He's speechless there. And then our next range trip was with the new funky AR 2.0, which I'll have a video coming out soon on. We were there zeroing the rifle. Hadn't had a chance to do that yet. You can see we had some wind problems on that particular day, and the TS100 did end up blowing over, but it was a pretty good gust of wind that did it. Oh my God! We killed it. Well, that was a fun range trip.
Yeah.
You pulled it out there at the end. That was fun. I was getting a little depressed there for a minute that you weren't going to have fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, what we have here are our challenge target stands. And this heavy one here with the feet is the TS200. And the one we were actually using at the range was the lighter one, the TS100. You can see we've used them, what, for 2 range trips now, right, Barrett? Mm-hmm. And they work really well. This one's just fine if you don't have any wind, and it worked great today. The trip before, we ended up having to switch out with this one because we had some, I don't know, it had to be at least 20-mile-an-hour winds. Yep. Everything was going pretty heavy that day as far as wind, and of course, you know, it has these little feet. I wonder why we couldn't rig up something like that for this, just to make it a little more stable. The thing about it is, I was thinking about this last night, and depending on where you go to shoot, like there, you know, the ground is really hard at our range. You know, if you tried to drive a tent stake in that ground where you set up the target, it would be very difficult. You know, now if you're out, you know, in a field, in a pasture somewhere that's got soft ground, you know, very organic-y soil, you could drive a tent stake in the ground with your hand and hook it on that little doohickey right there, and it would stay, you know, up. The wind wouldn't blow it over. The point I'm trying to make is that if you did get the heavier one, the TS200, this would survive in the wind even without staking it down. Mm-hmm. Because, like I said, it's going to depend on where you go as to whether you don't have to stake these down or not. But on any normal given range day, this one's just fine. It was fine today, no problems, and we had a lot of fun. So, Barrett and I went to the hardware store this morning. We found these wing nuts and these thumb screws. This has a thumb screw to tighten up against your 1x2, but actually Barrett and I have found that you don't really need these thumb screws because this sort of springy loaded piece right here holds it tight in there, and so you can use this thumb screw if you want to, but we haven't found a need for it. But the bolts that come with this are kind of short, I think that's probably maybe 1.25 inches. I went and bought some of these longer thumb screws and wing nuts, and I'm just gonna replace mine. I also have some lock washers. I'm just gonna replace mine with these wing nuts. See how fast that goes. And that's fine. There's no wiggle in that at all. And so if you wanted to take this apart very easily, you just hold it on this side and run those off just like that without any tools required. That lock washer works good because I almost didn't get it off. So I'm just going to run those back on just to show you how quick that would be. And that's how I'm going to use mine. You can use yours however you want to. But you can see here when you run these bolts through, they're kind of short, and it makes it harder to get this started. And you're going to have a wrench and a socket or something to tighten this down. Okay, these, I will admit the ones I bought are a little too long, but I did buy 2 different sizes. And I think this is a 2-inch thumb screw, and this, or thumb bolt, whatever, and this is 1.5 inches. The 1.5 inches seemed to be long enough. Where's my lock washer? There it is. Lock washer really helps snug that thing down. So if you're saying, well, that looks like it's sticking out a good bit, I would just, you know, go ahead and get the 1.5 inches. Okay, well, I think I'm going to call these good. I actually tried to find something that I could critique on these. All I could do is put my own little personality input in by using wing nuts instead of regular nuts on there. But that's just, you know, if somebody's going to use these in place a lot, you know, that would probably rarely have a need to take them apart. I just want to be able to take mine apart and use it that way if I want to. Plus, I don't have to have tools. I don't have to have any kind of wrenches or pliers at the range if I want to tighten that up or whatever. But so here's what I'm going to do. In an effort to help Brad sell these target stands in November, what I'm going to do is everyone who buys the TS100, which is in the $45 range, I'll annotate the price right here. Everybody who buys one of those in November will be put in a drawing, and at the end of November I will draw for the TS200. So if you buy one for 40 something bucks, you'll end up with you have the possibility of ending up with 2 of them at the end of the month, which has been kind of cool because Barrett and I have swapped them out as we've needed to, haven't we, Barrett? Yeah. Depending on the conditions at the range. So it's kind of cool to have 2 of them. So I was going to give the TS200 away, the heavier one, away with the Walnut Cricket fundraiser, but I think I'm going to go ahead and give this one away and then buy another one. So I'm just trying to help Brad sell some of these during November, just to I don't know, make my videos more successful for the review. So I think they're great stands, and like I said, everybody who buys one, the TS100, the lower cost model in November, we'll have a drawing at the end of November, and I'll give away one of the heavier ones. So I appreciate you guys, and it's been fun, hasn't it, Barrett?
Yeah.
All right, see you guys later. Thanks. Nice.